This is the first video being recorded since reaching 1,000 subscribers. I like to keep a couple of videos ahead for a buffer. There could be a technical issue, or it might spring something out of place that shouldn't have sprung on this old body. That's why I put up the quick video to thank everyone. I have almost 100,000 views totaling hundreds of hours of total watch time. And I'm a small channel. I have said many times before, this is very humbling. Let me tell you why. The last time I looked, I had 1,014 subscribers. This means so far, I have over 1,000 subscribers who think I have something good enough to say that you have subscribed. The most watched video is the wood sealer video, 123, the best wood preservative, with over 14,000 views. There are 21 videos with over 1,000 views, and 4 more close to going over 1,000 views. This is better than some small market radio stations have in the way of ratings. All this from an old retired farm boy. As soon as I can figure out how to set up for ad insertion by Google, there may be an ad or two surrounding a video. I'm not looking to get rich. I don't care to do all the various ways that some channels use for bringing in revenue. I kind of think of this as talking over the back fence with a neighbor. I enjoy it. If the internet gets wiped out for some reason, it won't bother me except losing the connection to all of you. So I have met my goal because of you, all of you. To keep from getting sloppy, I should set another goal. So this is my next goal, 3.5 trillion subscribers. I don't mind if off-world aliens sign up, but they have to behave themselves if they do. Seriously, I'll keep turning out videos and hopefully I'll gain enough subscribers where equipment and tools will be sent to me for reviews from legitimate companies. I've already turned away some questionable businesses pretending to offer big bucks to a small channel. That in itself sends red flags. I have seen that with some businesses in the DIY camp have changed what they're doing because of some videos I have done. I don't mean big things, but little things. But when it happens, it's because you have thought the video was important enough to watch that some companies also watched it and adjusted the way they do business. If that's not teamwork, I don't know what is. So let me say again, thank you so very much. And now let's get on with this week's video. I do most of my cross-cutting using a miter saw that's almost as accurate as my table saw, the Hercules 12-inch miter saw that has done me very well. But there are times when I need to use a table saw for doing a cross cut. I keep a rip saw blade in my table saw, and I could switch out the blade for cross cutting. But do I really need to do this? If you're new to woodworking or construction, this may be a concern for you. So let's do a talk about and find out if a rip saw will do a clean cross cut. Hello anyone, I'm Scott Bain. They called me the old farmer. If you've been cutting wood for Noah to help him build his ark, you've been in woodworking for some time and will know just about everything you need to know about handling wood. But if you're starting out, you don't have all the answers, and a simple thing for an old pro may stump you. And it's hard sometimes to find the answer, as in this case, using a ripping blade for a crosscut. Can you get a clean cut? The first thing we have to talk about is safety. Protect your eyes with safety glasses. Wraparound or ones that seal to your face are best. It will certainly ruin your day if you get something in your eye, like maybe a 2x4, but it also helps keep the sawdust out of your eyes. Besides being very uncomfortable, it can act like sandpaper on your eyes. This could cause infections and some major suffering, as well as major medical bills. Also wear a mask such as an N95 mask or better. Control the dust in your shop with a dust control system. It can be as simple as a wet-dry vac attached to your saw with a particulate filter trapping the dust. It wouldn't hurt to create a draft and will draw the dust out of the shop. In my case, I open the door to the porch and crack the garage door a bit, and now I have a good cross draft that removes the dust within several minutes. Leave your mask on until the shop is cleared of dust. The alternative is to use a filtration system that pulls the air through and traps the dust in a filter. There seems to be very little common sense in the world today. But I will assume you are one of the exceptions and work to sharpen your common sense every day. Play it safe for your family and for me, please. Before we get to the differences, let's talk about a saw blade in general. The composition for the flat part of the blade, where the arbor or the center hole is punched in, should be made with good quality steel. Some are stainless steel or other metals such as surgical steel. Some table saw blades will not tell you the kind of alloy used to mount the teeth on. The more you know about a particular blade during the buying process, the better. The blade may have a coating such as Teflon or other material to reduce drag. Unless you're using thin blades, the standard curve size is a cut that takes about 1/8 of an inch. There are blades that will do a 1/16 of an inch or less. This is so you're not losing as much material with every cut, and it also reduces the wear and tear on your table saw. With a thin kerf blade, I would add stabilizers, damper, or stiffeners. This helps to brace the thin blade against wobble or warping during the cut. It's a small circular shim that has about a 4-inch diameter that stiffens the blade without interfering with the cut. Another feature that can be seen on some blades are strange little cuts in the blade that look like pigtails. This helps keep the blade running cooler. When the blade heats up, it starts to warp, which affects the accuracy of the cut. These cuts are either stamped or, in the better blades, laser cut, which is more accurate. The teeth count and the shape of the teeth are different between a crosscut blade and a ripping blade. The angle of the teeth are different too. Rip cut blades are flat on top, like a crew cut style haircut. A crosscut blade has teeth that are angled. This is alternated between each tooth. One is angled one way, the next tooth is the same angle, only facing the opposite way. There are combination blades that will do both kinds of cut. These blades have some rip teeth and some crosscut teeth. Here are some terms to know. Most times you will find any blade in a big box store will do the job. How easily the blade will cut and how long the blade will stay sharp depends on the quality of the blade. Most blades can be sharpened when dull. Gullet, the gap between teeth. It helps clear the sawdust away for a better cut, and they also help cool the blade. Grind. There is an ATB or alternate tooth bevel, and we just talked about that. It could be a low, medium, or high angle. Flat top is like the crew cut hairstyle that I mentioned previously. Rake or hook is the angle at which the teeth tilt in line with the saw blade. If the teeth are leaning forward, such as when you lean forward, they have a positive rake. If they're leaning backwards, such as if you're leaning backwards, they have a negative rake. Rake can range from a -5, that is leaning backwards, to around a 30-degree rake leaning forward. Higher rake means a faster cut that takes out more material, but can lead to tear-out. Low rake will produce clean, tear-out-free cuts, but cuts more slowly. Table saw blades can cut wood, MDF, chipboard, plywood, plastics, bakelite, and even some soft steels such as aluminum. Unless you get a blade specifically made for cutting steel, don't go any harder than aluminum, and take it mighty slow and thoroughly clean the table saw inside and out. Otherwise, it may put extreme wear on the table saw components. If you're cutting plastic, it's best to tape both sides with masking or blue painter's tape, and take your time. Try a scrap piece first to see if the blade will cut clean. If it doesn't, you will have to change your blade or cut it by hand with a hacksaw. About 2 years ago, I put in a rip blade on my table saw, and the big box store only had an inexpensive blade. The better blades were sold out, so I got the cheapy blade, and it's done me okay. So let's take a piece of pine first and see how a cheap rip saw blade will cut doing a crosscut. Pines and similar woods more likely will have tear out than what we will have in hardwoods. It's not perfect, but it wouldn't take long with a wood plane or sandpaper to clean up. Now let's try a piece of white ash. This is very hard wood, and this particular piece has been inside for about 40 years. It's as hard as rock. Just think how much better these cuts would be with a premium saw blade. You can see that it can do the job pretty good, and it's not a problem to do crosscuts on a rip blade. It's harder on a table saw to do a rip cut using a crosscut blade. I sometimes find it hard to rip using a combination blade. So if you don't mind changing blades, I would skip the combination blade other than for a backup blade. If you don't mind changing blades, then get a good crosscut blade and a good premium ripping blade. But if you don't have to work to tight tolerances, the ripping blade will do fine for cross-cutting on most woods. Before we go, thank you to our subscribers who helped us reach over the 1,000 subscription mark. It's very humbling to receive the support from our subscribers. Thank you. I will always try to give you accurate information, and I'm not worried if you disagree in comments. Just remember, youngsters may read your words. Well, this is the old farmer Scott Bain saying, be well, be safe, and be kind to someone today.
Don't forget to click like, subscribe, share, or ring the bell buttons on the original Old Farmer channel. We enjoy reading the comments that you leave, and they do help the channel, so keep them coming. And once again, thank you for watching the original Old Farmer.
The VFW National Home for Children, providing families of veterans and active duty military opportunities for growth and development in a nurturing community. Please consider a donation to help their children and families. I.C. Rhodes speaking.